Today we're going to talk about compositions and inverses. So a couple of reminders before we look at some problems. Inverses are reflected over the line y equals x. If you're given a graph, then that's pretty easy to see. If you're just given two equations, then put them both into y equals on your calculator and see if they are reflected over the line y equals x. If you're given a point or coordinates, switch the x and y coordinates to get a point on the inverse. Compositions look like this, which is read f of g of x. And that means that you plug one equation into another equation. To do this, we're going to use the store button, which I'll show you an example in a minute. And remember that this notation, f and then the -1 as an exponent, means the inverse of f of x. So let's take a look at some examples. It says the graph of a function g is given in the following grid. That's here. Which graph best represents the inverse of g? The easiest way to do this is to look for some points on the original graph. So this point here is 4, 0. This point here is 0, 2. So the inverse of this function would have the flipped points. So it would have the point 0, 4 and the point 2, 0. So we can look at these graphs below and see which one has both of those points. So 0, 4 would be this point, 2, 0 would be this point. So C is the graph of the inverse of the original function. Given f of x equals 2x squared minus 8 and g of x equals x plus 2, what is the value of f of g of 5? This is where we're going to use the store button. And remember that you always start on the inside. So first I want to find what g of 5 is, which means I'm plugging 5 in for x in g of x. So if I say 5, store that for x, and then I type in g of x. That gives me the answer 7. Now I need to take that answer and plug it in to f of x. So now I'm going to take 7, store that for x, and type in f of x. And I get 90, which is C. Last example. If f of x equals 2/3 x squared plus 1 and g of x is 6x minus 15, which polynomial is equivalent to g of f of x? This means I'm going to take f of x and plug it in to g of x. If you can do that without making any algebra mistakes, great. But I'm going to show you how to do it on the calculator in case you're not confident in your algebra skills. So first, you're going to pick a number for x. I'm going to pick 3. And again, I'm going to start on the inside, so I'm going to start with f of x. So I'm going to store 3 for x, and then type in f of x. Remember that to type in a fraction, you can do alpha, y equals, enter, and type in 2/3. Okay, so I get 7. Now I'm going to take 7, store that for x, and type in g of x. 6x minus 15. And I get 27. So I'm just going to write that down to know that that's the number that I'm looking for. So now I'm going to go back to what I started with, which was storing 3 for x. And I'm going to type in each of these answer choices and see which one gives me 27. So I'm going to start with A, 4x squared minus 13. That does not give me 27. Let's try B. 4x squared minus 9. And that gives me 27. So that should be my answer, but I'm going to go ahead and check the others as well. 4x cubed minus 10x squared plus 6x minus 15. No. And then the last one, 16x squared minus 80x plus 101. And again, that does not give me 27, so B is the correct answer.